I loved you then, I love you now, and I will continue loving you until I can no longer.
You took a part of me until I had nothing left.
The old me had to die so the new me could be reborn.
I didn't deserve that pain. I deserve love, just not from her.
Today, I choose myself.
I wanted to tell you, but you weren't there.
These are the stories that I wish you heard. Streaming weekly episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts.
If you like this episode, please rate the podcast 5 stars, 6 and take it home. This podcast is a member of Bun Collective.
Welcome to your unfiltered Tagalog Wrestling Podcast. And this is the MTV Show Podcast, our wrestling podcast. It's Friday, you know what that means. Welcome to your unfiltered Tagalog Wrestling Podcast. And this is the MTV Show Podcast, our wrestling podcast. Okay, so for this week's episode of the pod, it's really interesting. There's a lot of things going on in the main roster and even in AEW, aka Tony Khan Elementary School. You know, I said this in advance na it's gonna be a dog show tonight. Yeah, it's gonna be a dog show, literally, here tonight on the podcast. So, sinabi ko din sa Gank that we're going to have a attention to detail tonight talking about the CM Punk situation. Actually, ang gagawin natin dito, retro tayo. Retro lang. On CM Punk's first AEW Anniversary. We're not going to, shit. Depende. Pero mag-shit pa rin tayo kay CM Punk because he should. Ayun, yun lang. So, first, let me introduce you to the new Gank stuff. So, sabi ko nga, meron na tayong Gank. Nag-announce na tayo on social media. So, we have here our Gank. So, syempre, pwede kayo mag-donate sa Gank natin. ganknow.com/themtshowpod. Or pwede rin kayo, syempre, na mag-subscribe to our Gank. It's low as $1, $1 and $2 tiers naman. Hindi pa naman siya, foolish. Hindi pa siya napapolish mabuti. Pero, ang perks natin dito, you can access to our subscriber-only content on the platform. Plus, you can join our discussions weekly. So, marami pang stuff na parating dito sa podcast. If may subscriber na ulit. So, you can donate and subscribe to support the podcast on ganknow.com/themtjshowpod. And also, verified na yung Gank natin. So, thank you to the Gank family for verifying my Gank account. So, for sure, verified na yung Gank natin. Again, you can donate and support the podcast on Gank as low as $1 a month. You can pay via GCash, via PayPal, via credit card. And you can get access to our subscriber-only content on the platform. Mostly spoilers on the upcoming episodes here on the podcast. But you can also join our discussion. You can ask questions and more to come really soon. Okay. So that's our gank for now. Let's do the content, shall we? Let's start with the big news. So AEW. Ah, AEW. Tony Khan Elementary School for now. We're going to call that in that way. So, dito sa Tony Khan Elementary School, it's weird to say this stuff on this weekly broadcast of the MT Show podcast. Kasi, minsan ko nang na-criticize ang AEW. Minsan ko na rin na-criticize ang Fed, WWE. Pero ito, sobrang dami nating pag-uusapan on this. So let's start with the Tony Khan Elementary School, AEW. So we got Jon Moxley is now your undisputed AEW World Champion. So he defeated CM Punk. Na-injure siya ulit. And the match lasted only 3 minutes. So sobrang ikli noon. In-upload na lang ng AEW yung match on their YouTube channel. No? Ayun. So, in-upload nila ng buo, pati yung entrance ni CM Punk, pati yung entrance ni Mox. Ay, hindi pala na upload yon. Pero ayun, in-upload nila yon on their YouTube channel. And mapapanood nyo na lahat na nagyari on that match. Basically, walang preno. Walang preno si Mox dito. Moxley is just getting started. When he defeated CM Punk, gumawa pa siya ng promo na my time is now, my time is goddamn now. And Jon Moxley is there, just dominating everything, basically. Eto, thoughts lang. In my opinion, in the first place, sana hindi na lang nanalo si CM Punk. Kung ganito rin ang magiging process nila eh. Kasi if we're going to talk about interim is kinda parang you are the second best. Ganyan. And mahirap naman na, syempre, you are going to work as a second best, di ba? So that's why they did this BS. Ewan ko kung ano ba ang ayaw ni Tony Khan sa mga pagbe-vacant ng championships. There's nothing wrong with vacancies. Especially vacancies na hindi naman umaabot ng buwan. So bakit tayo napaabot sa buwan where the CM Punk is just CM Punk? Wala nga siya na-compete na match ni isa. Ito lang. Tapos, ayun. He called himself the champion, undisputed champ. And now Jon Moxley defeated Punk to become the undisputed AEW champ. And for me, in just one day of CM Punk seeing him or seeing Jon Moxley as the champ, it's already better than Mox. It's already better than CM Punk. Doon pa lang sa first day of Punk or Moxley winning the AEW belt, it's so much better than CM Punk. At least di na-injure si Mox. Doon na lang yun na lang yung factor eh. Sana hindi na lang kayo gumawa ng mga interim shit na yan eh. Kasi yung interim na yan, parang UFC lang yan eh. And sinabi rin naman ni Tony Khan na we want something new when it comes to champions. That's why he formed this idea to have interim champions in his own company, which is not working at all. When it comes to pro wrestling, interim champions never worked. Baka totoo na nga tayo. Diba? Diyos ko. Tony Khan, FYI, hindi mag-work ang isang interim championship in a wrestling company. Mag-work lang ang isang interim championship when pag ikaw ay nasa MMA. At least you can have a perfect unification thing. Sa wrestling, hindi mag-work yan. Unless there's a big story. Pero yung interim, ganyan, para ka lang namigay ng libreng belt, ganyan. It's kind of disappointing to see the match goes, but it's so satisfying to see CM Punk losing. Kasi, wala. Parang wala ka rin naman nagawa on your run as AEW champion. Yun. That's basically it. CM Punk is nothing as champion. And per Dave Meltzer, eto, pag sinabi kong Dave Meltzer, mag-isip-isip ka na. Eto sinabi ni Dave Meltzer na ang possible main event for All Out is still a one-on-one rematch between Jon Moxley and CM Punk. So, ito, I have two questions here. Number one, so bakit nga ba nila binook before All Out itong match na to for Dynamite? It's like John Cena versus The Rock in a Monday Night Raw. It sounds crap, right? Doon pa lang alam mo nang malabo ang usapan nito. Alam mo nang wala kang maaasahan kay Tony Khan sa kanyang elementary school, which is so fun it is. But it's maraming factor. Yes, there's a lot of factor going on. But the reality check, interim champions will never work in wrestling. Even in WWE, it never worked in the first place. Right? Hindi talaga siya mag-work at all. And to add, the second situation here, uumayin niyo yung fandom niyo. We got this 3-minute squash shit, then you're going to give us a rematch for the belt? At all out na wala man ng kabuild-build. Diyos ko. Mag-isip ka naman, Tony Khan, at least once. Tony, may utak ka naman. Gamitin mo yung utak mo para ma-lift yung relevance ng company. Pinapatay din ni CM Punk yung problema sa company. It's so funny, it is. Pero magpakatotoo na tayo. Yung ganitong booking, itong interim shit na to, it kills AEW. Going back, let's talk about some stuff on AEW. So number one, there's an AEW Women's Interim Champion who will be crowned at All Out. So apparently, si Thunder Rosa ay injured. Sinabi na yan ng Fightful ni SRS. Then, eto na nga. So we got a 4-way announced for All Out. It's Hikaru Shida, Britt Baker, si Jamie Hayter, at saka si Tony Storm, the original opponent of Thunder Rosa for All Out. And now, ito, si Britt, nagparinig pa kay, nagparinig kay Thunder Rosa. Ewan ko kung siya, parang out of bounds na yung patama niya. Kasi injured nga yung tao. At mo kailangan magpatama. So parang out of bounds sa akin. It doesn't make sense. Britt is great. But this shit, it's not necessary. Sobrang unnecessary nung promo na yun, man. Like, seriously, dude. Then, we get the Daniel Garcia promo. So, we got a Daniel Garcia promo here na he said na Jericho ruined the match. Na parang it's a sign of respect to DB, Daniel Luzon. Then Jericho interrupted that shit. Ayun, so nag-tease na sila na possible nang umalis si Jericho. Si Garcia sa saan nga ba? Nakalimutan ko. Possible na rin siyang umalis sa Jericho Appreciation Society. And parang tinatawag na rin siya ni Daniel Luzon papunta sa Blackpool Combat Club. And the Blackpool Combat Club is expanding. Hindi tumitigil yung expanding ng stable na to. And in my opinion, Daniel Garcia would be a great fit part of the stable. In the first place, na si Daniel Luzon na yung nag-endorse to the fans na he really deserves to be part of the stable. In the first place, he really deserves to be part of the stable. In my opinion, he really deserves it. But, eto also to add, Jericho versus Daniel Luzon is now official for All Out. So, Kaya ba guys, ano ba masasabi nyo sa quick pay-per-view build-up ng AEW? No? So parang 2 weeks na lang yung pinaghahanda nila for this pay-per-view. And I'm not a fan of it. Parang they're rushing things a lot. It's funny to see AEW doing this shit, but it's so sad to see AEW. Wala silang pake on the pay-per-view at all. Parang wala lang sa kanila yung pay-per-view. Ayun na yun. Sobrang lungkot ko to see that. Then, let's go to the tournament. Itong tawag dito. Itong trios tournament. So, we got a match between Death Triangle and Will Ospreay OC Open. Then, Ospreay and OC Open won the match. Then, next week on Dynamite, it's gonna be the Elite versus Will Ospreay and OC Open. On the right side of the bracket, so there's House of Black and Dark Order for tomorrow, di ba? I think there's Best Friends and HOB. Tama? I'm not sure. I'm not sure about the cards. I don't care. But it is what it is. Okay? HOB tsaka Dark Order nga. Tama. HOB tsaka Dark Order for tomorrow's Dynamite. Then, yun. Magkalaman na lang kung ano yung magiging or kung sino yung magiging first AEW Tag Trios Champion. Then, sige. Let's go to Impact real quick before we go to our WWE after the break. So we get a Impact Exhibition title match between Speedball, Mike Bailey versus Chris Bay. In my opinion, this is a really good match. I watched this last week and I think sobrang komportable yung dalawa sa isa't isa. And I'm so fucking pleased. I'm so fucking pleased to see this match goes. And it's really pleasing to my eyes talaga to see this match goes. Then, the main event of that week's Impact was a 6-way. Basically, a match with the winner will face Josh Alexander for the Impact belt at Bound for Glory. So, it's Eddie Edwards, Steve Macklin, Moose, Sami Callihan, Bandido, and Rich Swann. So, it's a 6-way. Di ko natanda kung ano yung order. But, I'm sure na Eddie Edwards will lose this match at On for Glory. I'm sure. Sure na sure ako dito. 101%. Basically, they're building up a lockdown kasi parami yung members ng Honor No More. And parang it's basically they're building up shit here for the upcoming Bound for Glory event. And it's great to see Bound for Glory. And this is the way they should build this shit. Then, okay, more news. Okay, let's talk about my impressions on the AEW video game. Yung AEW video game, nirelease na nila yung teaser and yung preview for the upcoming game. Take note, hindi pa siya tapos. So, it means meron pa siyang lapses or may mga kapos-kapos pa dito. So, in my opinion, the gameplay is great. I love the mini games. I love the mini game so much. Parang yung gameplay, it's kinda reminds me of Here Comes the Pain. Noon sa mga PS games, PSP, ganyan, PS4, PS3, ganyan. Mga consoles na ganyan. It kinda reminds me of that. Parang old WWE video game. SD versus Raw. Ganyan. It kinda reminds me of that. But, madami pa kailangan i-polish ang AEW when it comes to this. Marami pang kailangan i-polish. No? Then, so bago tayo mag-bounce papunta sa NXT, let's talk about the UK releases. So, binitin ko yung there's some releases. A lot of people got released from the UK kasi It's either they don't want to go to the US side or mag-aantay na lang sila for 2023 sa NXT Europe. It's gonna be a lot to get pagka okay na yung NXT Europe. So, maraming na-release. Saya Brookside, sila even Trend 7 got released as well. So, hindi tayo dapat mabahala kasi si H, sure ako ibabalik niya yan. They can work at least for the indies for now, ICW most likely. For now, at least until the announcement of the NXT Europe. Or maybe pwede sila magpatago. Or meaning they can do competition, ganyan. Pwede sila mag-compete within the UK side hanggang mag-announce na yung NXT Europe. So yun yata ang ganun ata nagiging terms sa NXT Europe. But regardless, NXT Europe, it's so very interesting to see kung yung magiging position nito sa role ng WWE and sa WWE right now. Kung ano yung magiging role nito, it's so interesting siya sa akin to see what we will get on those shows once na makapag-air na sila soon, 2023. And matagal pa naman. So we have at least 4-5 months pa bago matapos yung taon. For sure, we can get that probably after WrestleMania, after Royal Rumble, or maybe announcements sa UK event. Ito, sa parating na Worlds Collide, there's a lot of opportunities. And of course, hindi natin kaya na ganito yung magsasapitin ng shows. Ganyan. Basta abangan nyo na lang. Marami tayong dapat abangan few days sa NXT tsaka sa UK. So yeah, basically that's it for our show recap of the podcast for the AEW side, of course. So before that, let me remind you of everything. Sabi nga, maraming bagay-bagay na pwede mo mabili sa Lazada. So, syempre, lahat ng bagay ay nasa Lazada yan. Parating na rin ang 99 by the way. So, syempre, marami kayong bibilin sa Shopee. So, sa Lazada. Of course, Shopee na ako ng Shopee. So, again, that's Lazada. So, if you want to support the podcast on Lazada, you can use my affiliate link, podlink.co/6gs. Again, that's podlink.co/6gs. It's gonna be a long run for the podcast and you can support the podcast without no extra cost. So for now, we're going to take a commercial break and let's check our bunkmates here on Bunk Collective.
Been wanting to learn about different careers? Or just need that nudge to pursue your passion projects? Here at Project Offbeat Careers Podcast, we talk to guests with unique careers outside the usual corporate shtick. Listen to historians, gamers, teachers, and cosplayers. See how they've succeeded and how you can apply their learnings to your workplace. Catch us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. And get ready to take the off-beaten path with us.
Hey everyone, my name is Greg.
I'm McCoy.
And I'm D. We're from
Chat. We're three Filipino-American gay guys discussing topics about culture, LGBTQ identity, politics, even love.
Or the lack thereof.
Here we go again.
Okay. We also cover family dramas and everything your tita baby and uncle boy don't want to talk about.
You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Yo, so we're back on the podcast. So, again, just a reminder, the MTA Show podcast is now on Gank. Our Gank is now verified. So, if you want to support the podcast and if you want to donate for the podcast, you can follow and donate on Gank, ganknow.com/the MTG Show pod as low as $1 a month. You can access to our subscriber-only content on the platform. Plus, you can join our discussions and more to come really, really soon. So again, that's ganknow.com/the MTG Show pod. As low as $1 a month, you can subscribe and you can access to our subscriber-only content. You can know in advance what we're going to talk about in podcasts, something like that. So yeah, so that's lowest is $1 a month. Syempre, content yan eh. And we need to grind some money as well. So yeah. So that's ganknow.com/ the MTA Show Pod. Okay, let's continue with WWE now. Let's talk about the Women's Tag Team Title Tournament. So, last Friday on SmackDown, supposedly dapat magkakaroon tayo ng Nikita Lyons versus Zoe Stark for the tournament. Unfortunately for Fightful Select, si Nikita got injured. Pero sinabi naman ng Fightful na isa sa mga dahilan ko ba't wala si Nikita is because hindi pa daw vaccinated si Nikita. I'm not sure. Hindi pa daw siya vaccinated. Not sure about that info. But yeah. Si Zoe injured daw from her NXT Heatwave match versus Mandy Rose. So Nikita and Zoe got replaced by Toxic Attraction and eventually winning the match. But announced on Raw, Toxic Attraction will not continue in the tournament. So therefore, we're going to have a last second chance match to determine the opponents of Raquel and Aliyah. So it's Nikki, ASH versus Doudrop versus Dana Brooke and Tamina, the 24/7 champion, Xia Brookside and Xia Lee and Brooke and Shotzi and Natalia and Sonya. So far in the bracket, so Io Shirai and Dakota, or Io Sky and Dakota, is now proceeding to the finals of the tournament. So si Raquel at si Aliyah waiting na lang sa tournament para doon sa contendership pa. Pero this week's Raw, possible din na magkaroon na sila ng champions on Raw next week. So that's in Pensacola. Pensacola ba? Philly yun. Sa Philly. So, hindi. Hindi. Ayun. So, going back, let's talk about wrestling. So, Fatal 5-way for the IC title. That's the first time that the Intercontinental Championship will be defended in a pay-per-view. It's Sheamus, Corbin, Madcap, Sami Zayn, and I forgot the other one. The other says, sino to? Sheamus. Fuck it. Okay, so I love the Sami Zayn part here. Kasi one factor for sure for that is hometown niya yan eh. It's so good to see him part of the hometown thing. And sobrang impressive din ni Sami Zayn dito. And it's so nice to see him, even though na hindi siya nanalo, satisfied about his direction, about this thing, or possible preview then of what we're getting. Preview din yon, possibly, of what we're getting soon between the Bloodline and Sami Zayn. So yan na yan eh, preview na yan eh, parang Usos versus Sami Zayn na yan in the future eh. Meron pa tayong nakikita din na possible na pumunta sa SmackDown si KO. Pero ano pa, marami pang butas bago natin malaman yung totoo about that. Okay? So, then, yun na nga, Io Shirai, Io Sky versus, and Dakota Kai versus Alexa Bliss and Asuka. So, the match is fine. Looks great. I'm impressed about that. Regardless. It looks great. Pero, wala na. Predicted ko na to last week pa na Io Sky and Dakota will proceed to the finals. Then, there's 2 matches that you should look forward. Finn Balor and Dolph Ziggler. At saka yung KO, Kevin Owens, magbabalik ng prize fighter KO versus Chad Gable. So, really good matches this week's Raw. Halos wala naman tapon yung Raw this week eh. Parang wala naman tapon yung Raw eh. Then we got Johnny Gargano. And Johnny Gargano is back. And he attacked Fury. So parang gusto ni Theory na mag-reunion daw on the way, but Gargano declined and super kicked Theory, and yeah. So nice to see him back on TV. It's so nice to see him back in WWE, like it or not. Sobrang ganda ng execution din ng segment as well. And it's so nice to see him back in WWE. Yun lang. Then, the main event of this week's Raw is basically Damian Priest versus Edge. That's Edge's first match on Raw in a while. I love this match. This match is really good. Not the best Edge match, but really, really good in terms of current era of WWE. This is definitely one of my favorites so far. No? Maganda tong laban na to. Sobra. And I'm kind of impressed on how WWE goes on this. Or maybe how they did something on this. Regardless, it's really good. Then, let's go to NXT now. So, NXT, there's a lot of things going on. Number one, let's talk about the Worlds Collide previews. So, we got 2 matches now made official for NXT Worlds Collide. It's Braun Breaker, Tyler Bate, Unification. Winner gets the NXT Championship. Then, the women's side, it's Mandy Rose, si Meiko Satomura, and Blair Davenport in a match as well. Triple threat rules. Ayun. So, para hindi magpareha siguro, kaya nilagay nila si Blair, si B. Priestley as a pretender on this. It's so good. Maganda din kasi may one-on-one na rin naman. May possible tag team match pa. For sure, we're going to get that soon. Maybe yung Briggs and Jensen versus Diamond Mine. Then, yung isa pa na Diamond Mine versus Gallus. Possible din natin makukuha yun sa Worlds Collide. Pero marami pa possible sa Worlds Collide na to. Then, so we get this Legado segment on NXT. So it means sinama ni Santos lahat ng members ng NXT. Lahat ng members ng Legado palabas. Nakakotse na sila. Then, wala nyo. Sa tingin nyo, saan makakapunta? Saan pupuntang roster itong si Santos? Tsaka itong buong Legado? Let me know in the comments. Pero I would love to see him on SmackDown. To be honest, I would love to see him on SmackDown para mas stacked. So we have MMM, we have Hitro, and now we have Legado. Sobrang ganda ng mix na yun, panigurado ako. Then, the main event of this week's NXT, if we're going to talk about expectation versus reality, sobrang successful itong match na to. It's Tiffany Stratton versus Wendy Chu. Lights out. Really good match. Wala akong masabi about that. Sobrang lang talaga. Superb yan para sa akin. And it's really, really good to see those two killing up each other. Although the Lego ruins everything. Yan lang. Yung Lego lang talaga. Okay. So, basically, that's it for our regular podcast. Then, in a bit, we're going to do attention to detail about CM Punk's first anniversary in AEW. So, yeah, let's talk about Shopee. So, again, malapit na ang 9/9. Meron pa din namang sales daily sa Shopee. If you want to support the podcast on Shopee, you can use my affiliate link, podlink.co/BHX. Malaking tulong yun here in the podcast. Syempre, please support this shit para magtuloy-tuloy pa tayo on this programming. Then now, let's check our bunkmates here on Bunk Collective.
Picture this. 2 guys talking about true crime,
weird mysteries,
horror stories,
but the conversation is light,
mostly funny.
And sometimes naughty.
This is Scriptsalog.
A Spotify exclusive.
I'm Gideon.
And I'm Glenn. And we're serving huge portions of horror and true crime twice a week.
We'll make sure your cravings are satisfied.
And you'll be begging for more.
Char.
Check us out.
This is Scriptsalog, available exclusively on Spotify.
Naguulat mula sa shore na kasing Pretty Ko.
Bringing you the latest and greatest.
And diving deep into the cool waters
of BLs and GLs.
And every kind of love there is.
We are the Shippers.
Sail with us as we watch our favorite queer love stories.
And update you about the latest every week.
Kaya tara, sakay na as we sail the open seas.
With new episodes Mondays and Wednesdays on all major podcast streaming platforms.
Sakay na you. Let's go.
Yo. Ayun, so we're going back. Welcome back to the show. So, ito. Before we go to our attention to detail, again, let's promote our shit. So, you can support the podcast and donate to our gank. Syempre, ganknow.com/the As low as $1, you can access to our subscriber-only content on the platform. Plus, you can join our discussions and more come really, really soon. So again, that's ganknow.com/the You can access on this via linktr as well. linktr.ee/the podcast. Basically, yun lang. So, konting synopsis lang about CM Punk dito sa ating podcast tonight. Ito, short lang to. We're going to talk about just CM Punk's 1 year in AEW. Let's see kung ano pa yung masasabi ko about this run in AEW. But ayun. So, that's basically CM Punk's 1 year in AEW. Ayan. May tanong ako sa inyo. Ayan. Fuck. I realized that. August 20, 2021. The Summer of Punk returned. Ayan ang una nyo naiisip when it comes to CM Punk. Siyempre, it's simple. CM Punk yan eh. CM Punk returned to pro wrestling 1 year ago. Para sa akin, itong return na to ni CM Punk, it's really good. Okay. Magandang run ito for him kasi hindi lang dahil sa performances niya. His performances given na yon. Pero yung pagiging senseless guy that he is, na parang nadala niya na rin from his WWE run. Andito pa din. Mukha pa rin siyang kopal. Hindi na dapat kayo magulat doon if you're a CM Punk fan. And if you are a CM Punk fan, definitely you should watch this. Watch this shit. Okay. So, kung natandaan nyo, maraming kumakalat na balita ngayon about CM Punk's behavior. Yes, we're saying behavior kasi pinag-uusapan natin dito ugali ni CM Punk as a employee of Tony Khan's All Elite Wrestling. Yes, we said that a lot. Marami tayong pinagsasabi dito about CM Punk's behavior kasi hindi naman toleratable yung ugali na ganun. Nowadays, yes, maintindihan natin siya ng 11s, 12s, pagiging kupal na ugali. Pero itong ngayon, the world changed. Nagbago ang mundo. Tapos, ganyan pa din ang mindset nyo about CM Punk. CM Punk's behavior, lalong lumala. Lalo siyang lumala. Lalo siya naging lunatic because of his fears. Maybe marami ring consentidor backstage. Pero on his quality naman, marami siyang quality matches on AEW. Given na yun. So, the feuds versus Darby, tapos MJF, Punk versus Hangman, and now versus Moxley. Awan ko, pero given na sa akin na itong behavior na to ni CM Punk will always be there. Okay? So, given na yun, parang if you introduce CM Punk to your home or basically company, mag-expect ka ng may hostage dito panigurado. Parang kasama sa package when you got CM Punk was the perks of how you will take him. Diba? Kasi ganun dapat ang responsible din dapat ang bantay o ang AEW on CM Punk's behavior. Ang problema, the CM Punk shit is out of control. Ewan ko kung kayfabe pa ba itong mga kumakalat na balita, but si CM Punk, according sa sources, is calling out everyone kahit wala namang pake sa kanya. Tapos na yung story niya versus Hangman, and yet is calling out Hangman. It's so funny to see that guy, the same guy who was respected by the people in his old or his former work. Diba? Sobrang respected ng tao na to when it comes to WWE. But that respect, nabali yun. Kasi you change your shit. Parang walang nagbago sa'yo. Hindi ka nag-mature. Hindi ka rin nag-improve. Hindi ka rin nagkaroon ng character improvement or development. Hell, hindi ka magkakaroon nun. Laki ng ulo. Sobrang laki ng ulo ni Punk. Ato. Di niya na nare-realize na wala siyang self-awareness. Wala siyang awareness on kung ano yung nakikita ng fans sa'yo. Maybe they care about you. Maybe you don't. But the fact here is, as a CM Punk fan, you should know what's the limit or don't act like your idol is. Just like in life, pwede kang umakto ng nababagay sa'yo, pero wag kang sosobra. Kasi pag sumobra ka, parang inaabuso mo na rin yung posisyon. Just like that. Parang it's just a privilege to be CM Punk. Or it's just embarrassing to be on that CM Punk. To be CM Punk, it's so funny to be CM Punk. But it happens that he is CM Punk. So it's funny to see CM Punk. That's what happens. At CM Punk, if hindi niya babaguhin yung ugali niyang ganyan, maybe you should reconsider yourself. You should reconsider everything in your back. And to add, yung disaster backstage in the elementary school, everyone doesn't take it seriously, man. You hate to see them don't take it seriously. It's kind of disappointing. Siyempre. Disappointing to see yung mga Guevara, Eddie Kingston. Yeah, siyempre, wag ka rin naman maging bully. Wag ka rin maging kupal. Ano? Ganun lang naman. Pero, going back to CM Punk. CM Punk is not that guy anymore. CM Punk is not your guy anymore. And that guy is not the same anymore. Basically, for now, wala na ako siguro sabihin pa. Kasi I don't want to waste my shit on this. But, as a CM Punk fan, talaga, ayoko maging konsentidor ng mga ugali niya. Ayoko maging consentidor ng trait niya, ng ganito. Ayoko. I don't. But regardless, for now, I'm going to finish this. That's my attention to detail.
Hey everyone, this is Mo Twister, and you're listening to the Kingdom Podcast with the voice DJ Yuki.
That was the OG, Mo Twister, promoting this podcast. If you like Korean pop culture, or know someone who does, then get into it, and visit our Facebook, Twitter and Instagram pages at the Kingdom Pod PH.
We're proud to tell you that this is one of the premier shows to go to for your weekly dose of K-pop. So drop everything and listen to the Kingdom Podcast. Available in all your podcast streaming platforms.
Join us!
Okay, that's my attention to detail about CM Punk. So, in case you missed that, this podcast will be uploaded on the dedicated podcast in 2 weeks. So, if you want to listen on that episode, listen on that platform on Spotify. Let's do the picks of the week. Our superstar of the week is actually Kenny Omega. Last week ito Then the woman of the week is Cora Jade. I really love the improvement of her character. So that's why I chose her. The match of the week is the street fight from NXT 2.0 Heatwave between Santos Escobar and Tony D'Angelo. So yun lang basically for the podcast this week. So syempre ito, mag-announce na rin tayo. So, next week and next week will be our Road to Fate week. So, as per today's recording, so far, si Nigel San Jose, si Crystal, and si Fabio Makisig are now respond to our invitation to be part of this podcast. Will be announced really soon kung kailan marirelease yung mga episodes na yun. But, it's gonna be good discussion about Road to Fate. We're going to discuss a lot. And it's gonna be a big. So speaking of Road to Fate, so Road to Fate is coming on September 11 at the Peta Theater in Quezon City. The ticket is still available, tickettome.net. And for more details about Road to Fate, you can subscribe on Gank and visit ManilaWrestling.com. Please support them. Please support our local scene in the Philippines, especially MWF. Please, 2022 na. Huwag naman tawanan yung mga moves na yan. Hindi yan fake. Baka pag sinipa kita sa mukha, sabihin mo pa rin na fake ang wrestling. Seriously, wrestling is not fake, everyone. Shut the fuck up. So, ito, follow the podcast on all of the social media platforms at the MT Show Pod. Don't forget to subscribe on our YouTube channel. Just search the MT Show Podcast. Syempre, madali lang yung mahanap since dalawa lang may video doon. And then again, you can now donate and subscribe to our Gank. So that's ganknow.com/the MT Show Pod. As low as $1 a month, you can get access to our subscriber-only content on Gank. Plus, you can join our discussions and more to come really soon. Syempre, you can get noticed on what we're going to discuss in advance, kung ano yung content that we're going to talk about on the podcast. And if you want to join our discussion, syempre, nasa Gank din yan, ganknow.com/the MTV Show Pod. Then, for more podcasts, especially here on Bunk Collective, visit our website, thebunkph.com. You can support the collective on social media at the Bunk PH. The MTA Show Podcast is a Bunk Collective podcast. It's available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and the rest of the podcast platforms, and on the podcast app. The podcast app is available on Google Play Store. Just search the MTA Show Podcast. Then, all related sa the MTA Show Podcast is available. Nakalink na yan, linktr.ee/the MTA Show Podcast. And, of course, Twitter and Instagram at AG Pinera. Again, yun, please support Manila Wrestling Federation for their upcoming Road to Fate event on September 11 at the Peta Theater in Quezon City. The main event for Road to Fate is a fatal four-way elimination match between Nigel San Jose, Cristo, Jake De Leon, and Fabio Makisig for the vacant MWF Championship. So the event will take place September 11, 2022. Visit the tickets still available on tickettome.net or you can visit manilawrestling.com. And yeah, that's it basically for our podcast. For now, see you on the next episode since it's gonna be the Road to Fate week. We're going to announce more details on that really soon. For now, stay safe, stay reso. See you on the next episode of the FD Show podcast in cooperation with Bang Collective. We're out. Peace.